a lot of games. Had a lot of really good games too. Anyway, I'm out. I might. So actually, before I'm out, I kind of want to express like my opinion on Firewall Ultra, and I have been trying. I've been going back every once in a while, try to figure out like whether or not it's improved. And FCE, I think, has destroyed the goodwill of everyone. And I don't want to say that they're not trying. Obviously, they don't want a bad game, right? They don't want to have a game where everybody's complaining that it's broken. Not the achievements. The side missions, right? The black market missions, they're not working. I have tried them again and again. At the end of the game, or at the end of the round, it says that they're complete. And then I go back to the black market. Guess what? It says that I still have to complete them. Even though, so like I'm getting 2 different prompts. And if I was told that if they're complete, they should just automatically come off as, like, they should already be complete, and then you could select 2 more. But I can't. I don't know what else to do to try to complete that. Furthermore, the eye tracking to select utility and everything else, that is just broken. It's not fast, man. It's just not fast. Not fast at all. Like they say it's intuitive. It is not intuitive because it's not as responsive as a button click. It just isn't. I don't care what anyone says. They need to change that. I know that Sony probably wanted it as a gimmick. It probably wasn't their design choice, but they did what they could with it. Okay, you tried it. Now create an option where you can do a button choice, a button prompt to switch guns and switch to utility. It needs to happen. There is no way that they should not have a button press use for utility. Get rid of the fucking ADS. All right, get rid of the ADS. No one uses it anyway. Now that you've kind of fixed everything else, you've kind of fixed the manual shooting to be as accurate as the ADS. Take away the ADS option and put it to the button press for utility. Like, the left trigger should now be the utility usage. That should just be the way it is. The maps are beautiful. The pace is great. I love the way it looks and sounds. Okay, the bullet tracers are distracting, and they're actually pretty bad. Go back to the Firewall version of that if you can, or thin down the existing bullet tracers. Like they look like they don't look like bullet tracers. They look like stormtrooper lasers. They just do. They look like stormtrooper lasers coming out of the gun. It is not good. It doesn't look good. It just looks like a laser show for the entirety of a gunfight, and it shouldn't be that way. So please, like, I know that they're not going to watch this because it's an Alvo stream. And they're not going to come and watch this, and they probably don't care about my opinion at this point. But the truth is, like, these little changes are going to help. Like, actually, they're not little changes. They're huge changes. They are massive changes. They are changes that have to happen. There's just no chance in hell that the game will survive if it does not go back to some of the basic mechanics from Firewall 0 Hour. That game was great because of the button layout, the way it played, everything. Every choice made in that game was really good. Even after Night Fail. Night Fail was a flop initially, but they ironed it out and it worked out. They have yet to fix a basic function, which is the assignments. Like, they're just not fixed. They're just not fixed. How is that? I don't understand. They had operations in 0 Hour. It's the same thing, and it's still broken. I just don't know. I think the game has a lot of potential, but it's been months, and that potential has not been reached. It was a game that needed to go through beta testing, that wasn't allowed to go through beta testing. It was a game that did not have external beta testing, which it needed external beta testing. It needed so much, but it was Sony's call for a lot of that stuff. It's Sony's call for when they communicate. It's Sony's fault, and it's their IP, and they've ruined it. And they have sacrificed FCE to accomplish what? I don't know. They put out 2 new maps, which are beautiful. I do love them. I will watch people play. I do enjoy watching other people play who don't mind suffering at the hands of the terrible experience. But yeah, they need to fix those things. Get rid of ADS function because no one uses it. Replace it with the utility usage. Even better, if you want to keep ADS, put grenades and stuff to the vest, you have full body tracking, so you might as well utilize the vest and everything else. Like, utilize that IK and incorporate that. I mean, look at Alvo. Alvo is not... It is a game that some have said it's a lesser game, but mechanically it plays far better than Firewall. This is a better game. Maybe not graphically. It's getting there, but maybe not graphically. Mechanically, it's a far superior game. The speed, the responsivity of the weapons, of the utility, of every functionality in this game, from sliding to jumping to crouching to proning, everything has been refined, everything has been good, and it's gone through proper testing. Every map that comes out has very few to no bugs at all, and no issues. Every release has been responded to. Any bugs and issues have been responded to within the week. Is there as much content? No, not yet. But we are also releasing, and I say we because I'm assisting with the beta and all that stuff, but it has released on more platforms. So that's part of the reason why it takes so long to get some of this stuff out. As I was trying to tell Wicked earlier, it's taking longer because they're trying to get the Steam release out. If you consider all the platforms that it's released on and how much is actually updated, like look at this UI. This UI was a recent update since Halloween. More has been done with this game in the past year than Firewall has for a single platform. I don't know what else to say besides that. I sit here and I play Alvo, and I actually think about playing Alvo on a regular basis. I generally just get tired. I never once think about going back to Ultra. There is nothing about Ultra that is drawing me back. I was really amped for it. I was glad that I got to speak to a few people about it prior to its release, and but some of the comments made and some of the choices made have just made it a complete flop. And I hope they are able to dig themselves out. I really do hope so, because FCE is a group of... It's a culmination of people who genuinely want to make a good game. And they have made a visually and audibly appealing game. But they haven't made a game that plays. It does not play. You can fire your gun, but that's about it. And everything is button press. They did make the doors easier to open. You don't have to hold the button anymore. You can actually just press it and it'll open, which is great. Awesome. But that's something no one asked for. In fact, most people asked to actually push the door open, which they haven't been able to do either. And people are trying to defend it, saying it's a good blend between flat screen and VR. My opinion, if you're playing VR, play VR. If you're playing flat screen, play flat screen. If you want to combine the two, then have a flat screen version and a VR version. But don't make excuses for not having basic VR stuff in a VR title. Like manual reloading, which is now standard for VR first-person shooters. Interacting with the world, which Alvo is working towards. More interaction with the world. Well-designed maps, which they have well-designed maps, but the mechanics make it impossible to play. They're just there's basic stuff. Partying is very difficult. Getting stuff for your weapons, which is a massive grind. Like, it's a grind no one has asked for. The grind to even get equipment is absurd. Like, at least in here, like, you just have to level up. You just have to level up. That's it. You level up, you get weapons, you level up your weapons, you get attachments for it. In Ultra, you have to play for, like, people get up to level 50 and they still don't have all the equipment. In 0 Hour, you got up to level 50, you had fucking everything. You had everything, and you have enough money to get it. In Ultra, you get it to level 50. I mean, you still have to play for another 50 levels before you even have a chance of getting everything. And you can't complete the assignments, and the assignments allow you to buy the equipment. And you can't put on a flashlight for a gun, because if you don't get the rail for the gun first, then you can't put the flashlight on. So for those who are looking to get a flashlight to try to attach to their weapon, but you get the flashlight and you don't get the rail because you think the gun already has a rail on it, well, guess what? You just bought a flashlight, and now you actually have to grind longer just so you could try to get the rail to put the flashlight on. But they don't explain that to you either. This is stuff that is nonsense. It's nonsense. The whole thing is nonsense. It wasn't properly designed that way. In fact, when the game first launched, it didn't even have windows explaining to you like what, like look at this window. It's very basic, but it tells you everything that you need. Kill streaks, utility, perks, weapon. You got a little utility sign to click on that. Right? Like it tells you the loadout. Like you have everything that tells you exactly what it is. You go into Ultra for the first time on launch, you're like, okay, what's this table do? There's nothing, literally nothing there. There's no sign, there's no box, there's no prompter, there's nothing to tell you what anything is. You have to actually go into the bench or go into the marketplace to figure out what it is. And even when you go into the first bench, which everybody always goes up to first, not the bench in the shooting range where you actually equip all your stuff. No, like the main bench that you go to where you select the character, select the mode. Like you think that you can set up your loadout there. No, you can't set up your loadout there. You got to go to the workbench to create your loadout and then equip your loadout at the other bench. How player friendly is that? I get you're trying to create some immersive feel, but that's not how that works. It's not how it should work. Why do I have to run to the shooting range at a snail's pace because the running animation is so slow and the speed of the game is so slow? Why do I gotta run in 30 seconds, mind you? Why do I gotta run to the loadout bench to create a new loadout that I can't equip from there, but that now I have to, once I create that, maybe within, I don't know, 25 seconds, now I gotta try to run back to equip my new loadout because I gotta go to the other bench. Like, these are things that are not well thought out. There's no excuse for the game's design. There's no, like, it's really beautiful. Like I said, it looks good and it sounds good, and I understand what they're going for, but they did nothing to incorporate proper mechanics to make the game work and work properly and inform the player of what they're doing. You have no idea what you're doing. They now added windows. I noticed that. They added little text boxes that are just floating there. Which, by the way, if you're going for immersion, having a floating digital text box that is akin to this in a game where you're trying to go more immersive and incorporate everything into your world, it's off-putting. It's like, you're telling us what each of these benches is for. Great, thank you. But now you've taken away the immersive aspect. Rather than having like a massive poster or something like that you can click on or whatever, there's like nothing. Like, you might as well just, it's better if you actually just put signs like up where it says pick your game mode. Like, you know how they have blue tab in Prepper, and now in another map they actually have a blue tab again. Why not have a neon sign that says loadouts above the shooting range loadout? Why not have game modes above the bench where you select your game modes and character profile? And then why not have a black market neon sign above that? At least that will tell people, okay, this is where I actually need to go. This is what I actually want to do. Because everything else is misleading or just confusing. So these are like my thoughts. Like, they still haven't fixed this basic stuff. And I say it's basic because any game, whether it's flat screen or VR, any game that you're playing, you expect to be informed as a player. And there is no information provided. It's a bit silly. And I hope they're able to dig themselves out of a terrible hole that they have made for themselves. Anyway, I'm done with my rant.